So I want to make a video about how to draw hands, and people are always asking about how do you get good detail in hands. A lot of folks that I know are drawing could use some pointers drawing hands. So here we go. I'm going to use the Jim Lee method. It's basically, just geometry. I'm going to start by drawing the stylus that I want my character holding. This is actually going to be the next page in my digital comic. So with this Jim Lee method, I call it, you start with an off-center pentagon and you make it a three-dimensional pentagon. Going to draw in sort of the dotted line so you get what I'm saying. There you go. Our offset pentagon has a 75-25 split. On the 25 side is going to be your index finger's first knuckle, and then we're going to draw in the other knuckles. And since this guy's making more of a fist, he's clutching an item like this, it changes their positioning, and it obviously tapers the fist like this. So you tapers your pentagon. So here's your first knuckle of your wrist. Now we're doing the thumb. And again, you can see I'm sculpting these lines in over top of lighter lines that I already sketched in. That would be your sketch layer. That would be your sketch. I've done this in layers, and I'm not going to do all of this in layers. Now I've changed over to a pink color here, and I'm going to draw in these further knuckles just for a good perspective. Again, you won't need to draw all these connecting lines into the knuckles, but it's important that you know where they are in order to sell the drawing, to be able to make the drawing believable. So I'm going to build these knuckles up just a little bit, because from this perspective, the fist has a lot of character. The knuckles are very exaggerated and, contorted. Now I'm going to connect these lines for the thumb here, and get myself happy with these knuckles. And there's the other ball, the other joint of your wrist, or the other part of the joint of your wrist. And for perspective, there's our canister, our face of our severed hand coming down from the viewer's eye. So here I'm constructing the index finger, and I'll want to work towards getting that middle finger right. And after that, we're going to move on to another layer over top of this, which is, would be the inking process, basically, if this were a traditional paper drawing. So this is looking good. I'm going to create another layer over this one. First, I'm going to lower the opacity of this layer and take this black ink down to where it looks like a pencil sketch again. And so again, I'm going to draw my pencil in, or ink my pencil in, and get that looking okay. And now I want to extend the stylus here, and I want the tip to bend and be more exaggerated to, just for artistic effect here. And see, now we'll really begin. This is our art. This is our hand. This is where we're going to draw, where your particular strokes matter, where your wrist makes lines that no one else can make. This is what makes an artist, Whatever tool you're using, anybody can connect geometry and anybody can learn to draw, but your particular wrist, your strokes, no one else can make. And this is also where it's important to remember to keep your perspective. with this extra lines and translucent layer showing the extra lines through, it's easy to forget which lines are your final lines. I probably should have done this in more layers, because unlike traditional, you can't just go through in your ink and erase what you don't want and white out. And it's easier here, but it is different. So now I'm just going to finish up this wrist and get the final lines for this, forearm and hand drawn. And just to show you what we've drawn so you can see what we got going on here, I'm going to color it in quickly on the same layer with a paint bucket fill after I delete the extra lines that we drew for the pencil. And you'll get a look at what you just learned how to draw. Hopefully these will help some folks out. Let me throw in a real easy breezy thumbnail here. And again, like I was saying, hopefully this gives you guys a good idea of how to use the Jim Lee method. All it is connecting shapes, geometric shapes. You got a pentagon and a bunch of little circles. So now our character is a guy who's always done some sort of manual stuff. He's an artist. He's a driver. He's done construction. He's got these, middle-aged, haggard knuckles. He's got some hair on his hands. Just, big old hairy cab-driving slob. And so that's looking pretty good. So now I want to draw this stylus that I'm actually using. I'm a big fan of this stylus. It's a recurring character in the comic. And so, again, it doesn't have to be perfect, as long as you can sell it. And this is a great thing just for demonstrations, especially the paint bucket fill. When something I'm drawing is actually black, I just go ahead and fill it on the lines layer, which is, would be your black ink line layer. And I just go ahead and fill it in there. And eventually, as you would in traditional painting, when you do your highlights, see, this is great filling in this pen here. Your highlights would go on another layer now. Of course, they're the top thing you draw, the last thing you draw. But in layers, you can draw them whatever you want. You turn them on and off with the layers. So here I'm just going to fill this in, skin tone, and you'll get a look at what we got going on. Now normally, and before this would ever go to print, this one won't make it to the website because I'm coloring it in. It's going to have to get undone. But normally you'd color under these black lines. There'd be no white gaps left, and then you can do your shading and grading and whatever you need to do without ever affecting your black lines. And then, of course, where you need to lose your black lines for highlight's sake, you would just highlight over top of the black lines, more like it would be in reality. And that's it. I'm going to draw this guy's tablet in. Again, create a layer below everything we've just done. So I can draw the entire tablet, straight lines, black lines, and all, without affecting the work we've just done. So this is kind of the great thing about working digitally in layers. Anyway, I hope you guys learned something cool. I hope it helps someone out, and I really hope if you dig the art, check me out. The website is moonbreezestudios.com. Thanks. Bye.